very, very funny comedian. You know her from her self-titled Comedy Central show. Her new book, The Bedwetter, Stories of Courage, Redemption, and Pee, is in stores now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sarah Silverman! Thank you for coming. Who were those people that were just out here? Did you see that act?
They were...
Let us play with your look,
they
people.
Were us, right?
You can't tell if it's the magic. It's the trick. They look like us.
Mystical, magical
the
people
one,
from outer space.
Yes. The one guy passed out.
Right.
He didn't make the whole gig.
Well, that's part of the animal kingdom. The weak move on, and the strong continue out. They go out that window.
Now, what does that guy do? What does that partner do?
That guy's a lady, first of all.
Yes.
And she prospers.
She does, yeah. Mm-hmm. Does she move on? Do they still keep the act together, you think, or they move on? Does she do it solo?
Maybe it's a town-to-town kind of snake oil, he's really alive and fine kind of thing. This question was supposed to be like a throwaway thing up top, right?
No. This is like a 25-minute thing. I want to get into this.
This is the interview.
This is the interview, yeah.
Let's
we have to go to commercial, yeah.
It's the after show.
This is the after.
With Gary Delabate.
Yeah, and Oprah Winfrey. This is fantastic. Hey, The Bedwetter. Come on, you have a book. This is fantastic. You got to be full of fun. Now, the title, The Bedwetter, does that refer to you? Were you a bedwetter?
Yes, I was a bedwetter well into my teens, till about 15, 16, tapered off. And,
tapered off, so it still went on, but just tapered off.
I used to keep a diary. A diary.
A diary. Oh, man. Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't we think of that?
What if it was like a planned slip?
Yeah.
Oh
my diary.
I made a hilarious mistake. No, and I would put like wet or dry on the top, like try to find a pattern.
Oh my gosh, sleepovers must have been tough.
Sleepovers were, okay, so I was a bedwetter and I was, first of all, sent to sleepover camp since I was 6, which is just humiliating. And then sleepovers were something I always tried to avoid. I went to my friend Heather Peters' birthday party when I was 6. I think she was turning 7. And I thought it was a daytime party, so I was having a great time. I was using the jungle gym. I was eating cake. I was like having a blast. And then she's like, "Where's your sleeping bag?" And I'm like, "Record scratch." Actually, a record scratch happened.
Oh, at that time, yeah, people were... You were listening to records.
And I was like, "This is a sleepover party?" And so she's like, "Call your mom and ask if you could sleep over." Fine, that's when I pretend she says no, but Heather's standing right there. So I have to be like, "Mom, can I sleep over?" And I wish there was some code because, my mom is like, "Of course you can, sweetie." Like if there could be some code we thought of that would tell her, "Don't let me sleep over." Like your package from Zappos arrived, or whatever. That did not exist. I know, it didn't exist then.
Well, maybe it did, but it wasn't online, maybe. I don't know.
So my mom says, "Of course, sweetie, sleep over." And I'm like, darn. And then,
Thanks, Mom.
So I had to borrow a sleeping bag and a way too sexy for a 6-year-old pajamas from Heather. Like weird, like harem pants half top thing. And I tried to keep myself awake all night, but what happens when you try to keep yourself awake all night is that when your body finally gives in, you're like out. So I wake up and I'm really, in the morning, I'm warm. I'm very warm and it feels good, but I know if I move just a tiny bit to the right or the left, that's kind of like the moment of truth. And I move a little and whoosh, cold air. That means I wet the bed. Ugh. So I went completely into what any 6-year-old would do, denial. I just pretended it didn't happen. And I got undressed with the rest of the girls and I got dressed and just acted like it didn't happen. And then Mrs. Peters came in and she stepped right into my wet pajamas, sexy pajamas. Mm-hmm. And you would think, like, as an adult now, I go, if I stepped into a 6-year-old's wet pajamas, I would be like, "Oh my God, someone wet the bed," and like try to make it cool.
Yeah.
She goes, "Who did this?" freaking terrified, and I'm thinking, like, is this a rhetorical question? Is the onus on me to actually answer her? I'm having a heart attack. And all of a sudden, Heather's dad runs in and says, Elvis Presley just died. And that's how Elvis Presley saved my life.
Yeah, that's a great story.
And it's so long. I haven't really worked it out, but it's a good story.
That's really cool. I think you'd be very, very good with kids. Are you good with kids?
I love kids.
Yeah.
I'm not ready yet. I'm only 39, but I do.
You're laughing at something
I
else.
do. They all, at the same time, thought of a funny thing they remembered.
That's it.
And I'm great with kids. You know, I've got a bunch of nieces and nephews, and I have like a routine I do, like with like a 3 to 5 year old girl, and this always works. Say you're her. I go like this. I'm gonna tell you something, but you can't tell anybody. And
Okay.
she's like, okay. And then I go, I'm a princess. I dress normal, so people treat me regular. And their brains explode. And it's so fun.
Let's go now.
And then sometimes, this is short. This is less than 30 seconds. And then sometimes, if it's a boy or a girl, I go, I'm your new mommy. And then they freak out a little and I go, I'm just kidding. I'm your real mommy. And then they freak out in a bad way, but it's fun for me.
Sarah Silverman, The Bedwetter, is in stores now.